I can't explain what really made me want to come back. Maybe guilt. Perhaps the hidden desire to feel something that shakes me inside again. When I received my mother's call, I didn't imagine that it would change my life so much. His voice was trembling, almost pleading. He told me that my father wanted to see me. After years of silence and distance, that invitation sounded like a sharp blade that reopened wounds that had never healed. It's been a long time since I've been back to my hometown. Every corner of that house, every smell, every sound reminded me of something I had tried to bury. Selim asked if he wanted to find out how dangerous desire can become. Francesco, my husband, was sweet in his way of encouraging me. Maybe it's an opportunity to make peace with the past, he told me. And even though the very idea made me tremble inside, I accepted. Maybe I was really hoping it was the right opportunity to close a circle. Or maybe it was just an excuse. As soon as I crossed the gate of the house, the same metallic creak of the past ran through me like a shiver down my spine. A familiar and sinister noise, as if the house itself knew I was returning. And then, there in front of me, Alberto appeared. My stepbrother. I hadn't seen him for years, since that terrible argument with our father that had driven him away forever. He had changed. Time had left a rough, mature charm on him. His features were sharper, his gaze darker. It hit me like a sudden rush. It was beautiful, much more than I remembered. And not just beautiful, it was dangerous. His presence unsettled me. In the following days, I tried in every way to keep my distance. But it was like fighting against the wind. I found it at every moment, in every space. In the kitchen at dawn, while preparing coffee with slow and confident movements. The muscles in his arm tensing as he poured water into the mocha. That scent of tobacco and wood that seemed to follow me throughout the house. In the evening, he smoked on the porch, looking at the horizon with a lost, almost melancholy look. And every time I saw him, I felt a shock. I couldn't explain what was happening inside me, but my body understood it before my mind. It was enough for our eyes to meet, and something in me would awaken. One afternoon, we met during a walk in the woods. Our paths had crossed, just like our lives. There was tension in the air, an invisible electrical current that seemed to connect us. I tried to remain rational, but it was impossible. When his fingers brushed my wrist, my skin reacted with a sudden shiver. It was just a touch, but it seemed like an intimate, almost carnal gesture. I felt my breathing quicken. I wasn't ready. I wasn't strong enough. Alberto was part of my past, but now he was a man, and I couldn't look at him without feeling a mixture of attraction, shame, and something resembling desire. Memories of childhood made their way through my thoughts. Me, the perfect daughter, daddy's girl. He, the son born to another woman, never truly welcomed. He had always been the rebel, the awkward one, the one who challenged everything and everyone. Yet now, that rebellion had become pure magnetism. When he walked, everything else seemed to disappear. When he spoke, his voice went straight to my stomach. During a dinner, I found myself sitting between him and Francesco. I watched the two men in my life talk as if nothing had happened, while I desperately tried to maintain control. I felt my hands sweating, my heart racing. I got up to go to the kitchen, but he followed me, his hot breath on my neck, his penetrating smell. It paralyzed me. My body reacted before I could even rationalize. Every fiber of me was alive. His low voice entered me like a forbidden whisper. Every day it became harder to ignore him, and he knew it. He got closer and closer, touching me by chance, staying next to me for too long, looking at me as if he were undressing me with his eyes. And I, despite fighting with all my strength, began to give in. My thoughts became dirtier, the nights longer. I imagined things I should never have imagined, but they were real, inside me. Francesco began to notice something. He asked me if everything was okay. I told him yes, but I was lying. I hugged him with the hope that that gesture would bring me back to reality. But every time Alberto looked at me, reality shattered. One evening, while I was alone in my old room, I received a message from him. He asked me to join him in the garage. My heart exploded in my chest. I knew I shouldn't. I knew it was the line that shouldn't be crossed. But my legs moved on their own. I went down the stairs in silence, as if I were being guided by something I didn't control. The garage was immersed in darkness, illuminated only by a faint ray of moonlight. The door closed behind me. He was there, motionless, the serious face, the eyes filled with something I had never seen before. He said we had to stop, but the tone of his voice said something else. The tension between us was palpable. I could almost feel it vibrating in the air. And in that instant, I knew I wasn't fighting anymore. Not with him, not with myself. I was already inside, trapped, completely. I approached with my heart beating like a crazy drum in my chest. Every step seemed like a gamble, yet I couldn't stop. I asked him, in a voice that tried to sound firm, what he meant by put an end to it. But deep down, we both knew it. It wasn't a farce we were playing. It was a dangerous game, a vortex of attraction and desire that had sucked us in, and before I could even really think about what I was doing, I was the one who closed the distance between us. I kissed him. With all the strength of repressed emotions, with the weight of the days in which I had tried to resist. That kiss was long, intense, almost violent in its intensity. Yet, as soon as we parted, a fierce sense of guilt hit me, a wave that crushed my chest and took my breath away. But he looked at me with eyes so deep, so ardent, that for a moment I feared I would no longer be able to control myself. My voice broke into a fearful whisper as I tried to convince myself that we couldn't continue like this. He, however, didn't seem repentant at all. In fact, he seemed more fired up than ever. I could see it in his eyes. For him, danger was just fuel, and the fact that it was forbidden made it all the more irresistible. I felt my body betraying me, pushing me towards him, craving that contact again. But just as I was about to give in again, a sudden noise made our blood run cold. Steps. Someone was coming. I wriggled away from him, seeking shelter in the shadows behind an old wardrobe. Panic assailed me. And then Francesco's voice pierced the silence. His worried tone paralyzed me. Had he sensed something? Had he seen us? But Alberto remained impassive. He responded naturally, hiding any trace of tension. Francesco, confused but not suspicious, turned and left. Only then did I start breathing again. I whispered to Alberto that it was too risky, that we were pushing ourselves, but he laughed softly, finding that very risk exciting. I, on the other hand, couldn't laugh. I had just crossed an irreparable limit. I had kissed my stepbrother. I had cheated on my husband. In the following days, I did everything to avoid it. I dodged it, made excuses, tried to build barriers for myself. But inside me, I was broken. The nights next to Francesco were torment. I would wake up in the throes of confused dreams, with the taste of that kiss still on my lips. The mind tried to push it away, but the body remembered it too well. I was suspended, trapped between two worlds. On the one hand, the safe, protective love of a man who didn't deserve any of this. On the other, an overwhelming, blind, dangerous passion. If something in you has moved listening to this story, then stay, press sign up and let yourself be tempted again, one story at a time. Alberto didn't give up. One day he joined me in the garden. He said we needed to clarify. I tried to run away, but he held me back. He wanted to know if we were going to continue with that lie, if I was ready to choose. I collapsed. I told him I couldn't leave Francesco, that I loved him, but as I said those words, I felt something inside me was off. A crack in my own truth. Alberto scrutinized me intensely, then left me there, alone with my thoughts. After that evening, he changed. He stopped looking for me, trying to tempt me. There were no more ambiguous glances, nor artfully created opportunities. He seemed to respect my choice. And yet, the more he moved away, the more I missed him. His every absence was a void that tore me apart. Francesco, unaware, continued to be the sweet man he always was. Every caress of his, every kind gesture became a condemnation for me, every kiss a stab. One evening he proposed a dinner out to me to get away for a bit. I accepted with a dull smile, but during dinner my mind was elsewhere. I kept thinking about Alberto like a drug addict in withdrawal. When we returned, Alberto was in the garden. Francesco naively invited him to have a drink with us. I stiffened. Alberto accepted, and his eyes searched mine. No words were needed. We both knew where we were going. Sitting in the living room with a glass of wine in hand, the tension was so thick it felt like it could be cut with a knife. His eyes burned on me, and every word Francesco said made me feel more and more guilty. When Francesco got up to go to sleep and kissed me on the forehead, my stomach twisted. As soon as he was out of the room, Alberto wasted no time. He approached me, full of repressed desire. He confessed to me that he couldn't stand seeing me with him anymore. His face was so close, I could feel his breath warming my skin. I tried to stop him, but he didn't listen to me. His lips sought mine urgently. It was a kiss full of everything we had held back. A desperate kiss. I got lost. Totally. I didn't think about Francesco, nor about the risk. Only the warmth of his hands, his fingers running over my body, as if they had always known me. It was as if we had been waiting for this moment our whole lives. But then, a sudden sharp noise, a shattered glass. We suddenly broke away. Francesco was on the threshold, his eyes wide open, full of shock and pain. The world stopped. No words were needed to explain. He had seen us. I tried to speak, but every sentence died on my tongue. Alberto also tried to intervene, but Francesco angrily silenced him. He looked at us as if we were two strangers. I was terrified. I had destroyed everything. Francesco asked questions, asked how long it had been going on. He wanted to know why. I had no answers. Only tears and empty apologies. Finally, in a cold voice, he said he was leaving. I tried to hold him back, but it was no use. His gaze pierced me. Alberto tried to explain himself, but Francesco wouldn't let him speak. He said it was worse than he thought. That night, he left, and I stayed there with Alberto. But even he couldn't fill the void inside me. I had lost everything. The man who loved me, trust, and maybe even a part of myself. Alberto tried to console me, but we both knew that there would be no happy ending for us. So I decided to leave everything, that house, that history, that destruction. There was no longer room for me either with Francesco or with Alberto. I had burned everything with my own hands. I left in silence, heartbroken, aware that from that moment on, nothing would ever be the same. If you want to receive new videos of the series, write, "I want the sequel" in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to receive a preview of future publication. Thank you.